بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. As you remember, we said the next topic is al-qada wal-qadar. المسألة الثامنة في القضاء والقدر. This is one of the issues related to Allah's actions, because we are talking about Allah's actions and this is also related to that. And again, our main I can say addressee, I don't want to say opponent, but in this discussion the other party are Ash'arites, and we want to clarify the concepts and notions of qada and qadar and say that they would not contradict with human role. Ash'arites said that our actions are all actions of Allah, created by Allah in us, and they may use also qada and qadar as evidence, because qada and qadar are Allah's actions or related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's actions. So Khaja rahmatullah alayhi wants to clarify that qada and qadar cannot be used in support of the ideas of the Ash'arites, which was denial of human role. So al-mas'alatu al-thamina fi al-qada'i wal-qadar. The eighth problem is about qada and qadar, and inshallah we will talk about the meaning of qada and qadar a little bit. Qala, Khaja said, والقضاء والقدر إن أريد بهما خلق الفعل لزم المحال. If the Ash'ari theologian means by qada and qadar, of course أريد بهما is فعل majhul, but it means it refers to them. If by qada and qadar creating actions is meant, means if they mean, if the Ash'arites mean that Allah creates actions in us, lazim al-muhal, then something impossible would be following. The consequence is impossible, because this is denial of our role. If you want to say Allah does everything, qada and qadar, al-qada'u al-ilahi wal-qadaru al-ilahi, means that He creates everything. This is not possible. Al-Ilzam means in urida bihima al-Ilzam. You may say, no, we don't say creation of the action, we say Ilzam, means commanding, obligating. Allah makes something obligatory, and this is the meaning of qada and qadar, because qada and qadar have some aspect of firmness and decisiveness. They wanted to bring it into obligation, taklif, ilzam, but this then can only be used for ahkam, and even not for every hukm, not for every ruling, only for wajibat, because mustahab, mubah, makruh, there is no ilzam. So avil ilzam means in urida bihima al-ilzam sahha, but fil wajib khasatan, only about wajib you can say there is ilzam. If we accept that qada and qadar can mean ilzam. The problem is that it's not inclusive. And if you say qada and qadar means i'lam, to declare, to announce, to inform, okay, sahha mutlaqa, this is correct, no problem. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows in advance what we are going to do, and He informs the angels, He puts it in Lawh Mahfuz. It's a matter of just announcement, but we are responsible. That's not a problem. Actually, this is also mentioned in a hadith from Amir المؤمنين عليه السلام. وقد بينه أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام في حديث الأصبغ. In the hadith that inshallah we are going to read, Amir al-Mu'minin has explained the meaning of qada and qadar, and part of it is about i'lam, part of it is about taklif. Inshallah we will see. Khaja doesn't say anything more than this. Here is just 2 lines almost, maybe a few words. Allama rahmatullah alayh now tries to explain different senses in which qada and qadar are used, and then saying what we mean in theology. أقول يطلق القضاء على الخلق والإتمام. Sometimes qada is applied to the sense or to the meaning of creating and completing, creation and completion. For example, قال الله تعالى فقضاهن سبع سماوات في يومين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them 7 skies in 2 days. Day doesn't here mean day in our sense. Maybe it means 2 stages. قضاهن أي خلقهن وأتمهن, means created them and completed their creation. So qada sometimes means to create, to complete. And if you remember in Amuzash Aqaid, theological instructions, and also in Islamic belief system, and also in any book on Aqaid that we have discussed, we have always said that qada has always a sense of decisiveness and firmness and finishing, completing, terminating things. So there is some kind of firming and settling things there in qada. وعلى الحكم والإيجاب. Sometimes qada is used in the sense of hukm, to issue a verdict, والإيجاب, to obligate. لقوله تعالى, because Allah says in the Quran, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ. Your Lord made this decree, this command, that you should not worship and serve except Him. Here it doesn't mean creation, it means legislation and commanding. أي أوجب وألزم. Allah made ijab and ilzam, is obligated, made it compulsory. وعلى الإعلام والإخبار. Sometimes qada is used for إعلام, to announce, إخبار, to inform. كقوله وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب. قضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب, according to Allah, means أعلمناهم وأخبرناهم. We informed Bani Israel, we announced to them in the book. وَيُطْلَقُ الْقَدَرِ. This is about qada. Of course it can mean judging, etc. Qadar in the root means measure. Qadr and qadar are very similar, is measure. and we say andaze in Farsi. In English we say size. But it can again be used in different senses which are all related to this. يطلق القدر على الخلق. Sometimes qadar is used in the sense of خلق, creation, like qada. كقوله تعالى وقدر فيها أقواتها. Allah created in them their sustenance. Of course, maybe you say here qaddara means measured and planned, because one meaning of qadr is measuring and planning, but Allah says here means created. qaddara fiha aqwataha means created, and it makes lots of sense, of course. Sometimes means kitaba, to write down. كقول الشاعر. This poet has used it in this sense. واعلم بأن ذا الجلال قد قدره في الصحف الأولى التي كان سطره. أو سطره. If we say سطره, it's more similar to قدره. Be aware, be informed, واعلم, that Zal Jalal, the possessor of glory, means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has written down in the previous early books that he wrote. Satara nun wal qalam bima yasturun. Satara yasturu means to write down, and satra means line. If it is satara, then becomes for emphasis. So be aware that Allah has written down in earlier books that he has written down. What is the content? It's not in this couplet, in other couplets, but here just refers to the fact that Allah has written down, and he has used the term qaddara. Sometimes it is used for expression, wal bayan, to explain, to express. كقوله تعالى إلا امرأته قدرناها من الغابرين. Except his wife. قدرناها here, according to Allah Mahalli, doesn't mean we measured, we planned, I don't know, we made a decree or whatever. It means بينا قدرناها من الغابرين. We said that, we explained that she also would be one of those people who would be dying and who would be destroyed with punishment. وأخبرنا بذلك إذ ظهر هذا. Okay, let's stop up to بذلك, then we go to إذا ظهر. بينا وأخبرنا بذلك. You can put a full stop here so that it's clear. We informed, we explained, تبيين, إخبار, إعلام, that she was one of those people who are going to be punished. So بينا وأخبرنا بذلك. Now, that sentence finished. Allah says, after explaining different senses in which qada and qadar are used, إذا ظهر هذا, if this has become clear, if you have understood what we said so far, فنقول للأشعري. Now we start our conversation with Ash'ari. Ash'ari, either in the sense of the founder or any Ash'ari. We say to an Ash'ari thinker, ما تعني بقولك أنه تعالى قضى أعمال العباد وقدرها. What do you mean when you say Allah made actions of his servants through qada and qadar? When you say qada or qaddara, what do you mean here? We give few options and see which one you want to choose. إن أردت به الخلق والإيجاد. If you mean by qada wa qaddara that Allah created, brought into existence, فقد بينا بطلانه. We said that this is wrong. We showed that this is wrong, and we showed that أن الأفعال مستندة إلينا. We showed that actions are attributed to us. We had lengthy discussion about this, that actions are attributed to us. So if you want to say by qada ilahi wal qadar ilahi that Allah created our actions and we are only subject, a place that He creates His action in us, this is not acceptable. This cannot be meaning of qada and qadar. وَإِنْ عَنَى بِهِ al-Ilzam. If Ash'ari means by qada wa qadar ilahi that Allah made taklif, Allah made obligations, okay, this sense then can only be used for wajibat. What do you say about other things? Sometimes people do things that even they are haram. Not only they are not wajib, they are haram. Do you want to say they are not included under the banner of qada and qadar? So qada and qadar is only for wajibat, the rest has nothing to do with qada and qadar, or everything that happens to us is qada and qadar in its proper sense, but it's inclusive anyway. In ana bihi means in ana al-ash'ari bihi bil qada wal qadar al-ilzam lam yasihha illa fil wajib khasatan. Then only for wajibat we can say there is ilzam. وإن عنا به أنه تعالى بينها وكتبها وأعلم أنهم سيفعلونها. And if they say that it means that Allah has informed, has explained, has written down that these people are going to do this, whatever we are going to do, it is known in His qada and qadar, I mean it is mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has somehow informed or written down about them somewhere to some people, maybe to angels, maybe in Lawh Mahfuz. Okay, فَهُوَ صَحِيحٌ. This is not a problem because this would not contradict our role. Allah has knowledge, and even in advance He can say and write what we are going to do, no problem. But we are in charge and responsible for our actions. فَهُوَ صَحِيحٌ. This meaning is okay. لأنه تعالى قد كتب ذلك أجمع في اللوح المحفوظ. Because yes, Allah has written down all of these things in the preserved tablet, Lawh Mahfuz. Remember in the discussion about Quran, we talked about Lawh Mahfuz. بل هو قرآن مجيد في لوح محفوظ. Everything in its final decisive way is in Lawh Mahfuz. We have Al-Wah Mahfu Ithbat, but Lawh Mahfuz is not conditional. We discussed this in several places, and if you want you can refer to books of tafsir about the ayah يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. So قد كتب, so He has written down where? In Lawh Mahfuz. وَبَيَّنَهُ, to whom? لِمَلَائِكَتِهِ, He has informed Malaika. وهذا المعنى الأخير هو المتعين للإجماع على وجوب الرضا بقضاء الله تعالى وقدره ولا يجوز الرضا بالكفر وغيره من القبائح. This last meaning is the one that we have to accept. It's a matter of informing. Why? Because we have ijma, lil ijma, because there is ijma, there is consensus among Muslims that we have to be pleased with qada and qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, if qada and qadar must be something that we are pleased with them, then can we say sinning or kufr of people are also something that we have to be pleased with? So it means that they are not under qada and qadar, except in the sense of Allah has informed about them. Allah has informed about them. لا يجوز الرضا بالكفر وغيره من القبائح. We cannot be pleased. We can be pleased with the actions of Allah, but we cannot be pleased with kufr. So because this is action of this person, he has a role, he's responsible. Or other bad things. ولا ينفعهم الاعتذار بوجوب الرضا به من حيث إنه فعله تعالى وعدم الرضا به من حيث الكذب. If Ash'arites want to solve the problem and bring an excuse, they say here still we have to be pleased when someone is kafir, but we are pleased with what? We are pleased with kufr as an action of God, but we are not pleased that this person has acquired it, has become muktasib lil kufr. You remember we talked about nazariyatul kasb. They say Allah created, but because Quran says laha ma kasabat wa alayha ma iktasabat li kulli nafsin, for example, ma kasabat, therefore they want to use this term kasb in the way that as if we have some role, but we are not doing anything really. So Allah says, if you want to say that it's wajib to be pleased with this kufr, for example, min haythu innahu fi'luhu, because it is the action of Allah. Wa adamu ridha bi, it's wajib not to be pleased with it min haythu al-kasb, because of this person has acquired it. We said this is not acceptable. Why? لِبُطْلَانِ الْكَسْبِ أَوَّلًا, because first of all, we didn't accept this before. We said we have a role, a real role. It doesn't make sense that Allah creates good things or bad things in us and then He praises us or blames us, rewards us or punishes us for what He has created in us. It doesn't make sense. وَثَانِيًا فَلَأَنَّا نَقُولُ إن كان كون الكفر كسبا بقضائه تعالى وقدره وجب به الرضا من حيث هو كسب. Suppose we believe according to you Nazariyatul Kasb is accepted, but we say if kufr إن كان كون الكفر كسبا بقضائه تعالى وقدره, if this kufr is kasb of this person, acquisition of this person because of qada and qadar, qada and qadar made him do this kasb. If we accept kasb, so you have to be pleased because qada and qadar come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So not only you have to be pleased with Allah's action, you have to be pleased with this qada and qadar that have led to this person becoming muktasab for this action, becoming the subject or the place for this action. And you don't accept this. You don't want to be accept with the role of this person. وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ بِقَضَى وَقَدَرٍ, and if this was not with qada and qadar, if you want to accept exception, then our major position that we say everything is happening through qada and qadar would be damaged. بطل استناد الكائنات بأجمعها إلى القضاء والقدر. Then the idea that all creatures are somehow connected with qada and qadar covers every creature, that idea would be damaged. So after explaining this, now we go to the hadith that Khaja referred to. But I want to sum up what we have said so far in order to make sure nothing is ambiguous. So Allah first started with mentioning few senses in which the term qada and the term qadar can be used literally, and then he said, of course commenting on what Khaja said, that our Ash'ari brother, what do you mean? Do you want to say that Allah created our actions, and qada and qadar means that Allah creates in us actions, everything is according to qada, and qadar means everything is done by Him? This is not acceptable. This is muhal, because we said we have a role. If you mean by everything is according to qada, qadar, that Allah makes ilzam, obligation, it's not a matter of creation, it's a matter of obligation. Okay, obligation can only be about wajibat, or the negative side, muharramat. Both of them are firm. But mustahab, makruh, mubah, and things which are not related to our actions, they are not about qada and qadar. So rain is not qada and qadar. A child is born, it's not qada and qadar. So this also doesn't make sense. If you say it's i'lam, okay, i'lam is okay, but i'lam would not deny our role. Allah knows in advance, can talk about it in advance, can write about it in advance, has nothing to do with our role. And if they want to say that Allah is bringing qada and qadar, but through kasb, then again you have to be accepting every person's kasb if it is because of qada and qadar. So far, the best theory for understanding qada and qadar seems to be i'lam and ikhbar. After we read this hadith, inshallah, I will come back and explain this a little bit more outside from outside the book. But let's first see the book. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه وسلامه قد بين معنى القضاء والقدر وشرحهما شرحا وافيا في حديث الأصبغ ابن نباتة. Be informed, be advised that Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam has explained the definition or the meaning of qada and qadar, and adequately explained it in the hadith which is known as Hadith Asbagh ibn Nubateh, who was one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. So he mentions something or a conversation that happened after the battle of Siffin was over. It says, لمن صرف من سفين فإنه قام إليه الشيخ. When Amir al-Mu'minin was returning from Siffin, an old man stood up and said to Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, أخبرنا يا أمير المؤمنين عن مسيرنا إلى الشام أكان بقضاء الله تعالى وقدره. O Commander of the Faithful, please inform us about our journey to Sham. We came all the way to here, and perhaps they were not happy with the results, so they asked the question, was this coming to here according to qada and qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? أكان بقضاء الله تعالى وقدره. فقال أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام, Imam Ali alayhi salam said, والذي فلق الحبة وبرأ النسمة ما وطأنا موطئا ولا حبطنا واديا ولا علونا طلعة إلا بقضاء وقدر. Amir al-Mu'minin said, by Allah who has split the seed, created people, we didn't take any step, We didn't go down into any valley or climbed any hill except with qada and qadar. Anything was بقضاء وقدر, according to qada and qadar. This old man then thought, okay, so it means that everything was fixed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we had no role, therefore we don't expect any reward. He said, عند الله أحتسب عنائي or عنائي. I calculate or I ask Allah to consider my ana means become tiredness. He said all these efforts that we made now seems not to be that much important, so I ask Allah to consider it as a good action, but although it seems that we didn't have any role. ما أرى لي من الأجر شيئا. I don't see for myself anything apart from reward. It didn't lead to any conclusion. Muawiyah, of course, is still there, and it seems that also our role is very minimal, so he said this. Then Imam alayhi salam said, no, it's not that you didn't have role and you didn't receive great reward. Imam alayhi salam said, Mah ayyuha shaykh. Mah means amhil, means stop. بل عظم الله أجركم في مسيركم وأنتم صائرون وفي منصرفكم وأنتم منصرفون. Allah has given you great reward coming here and returning from here. ولم تكونوا في شيء من حالاتكم مكرهين. You were never forced. You had a role. You did it voluntarily. Don't think that when I said everything was according to qada and qadar, that you had no role. لم تكونوا شيئا في حال من حالاتكم. In any of your conditions and circumstances, you were not mukrah. You were not, forced. ولا إليها مضطرين. And it was not something that you had to do. It was an emergency. فقال الشيخ, then that old man said, كيف والقضاء والقدر ساقانا. How it comes, how this is possible if qada and qadar have pushed us and led us to all these things. فقال ويحك لعلك ظننت قضاء لازما وقدرا حتما. Imam said, it seems that you thought when I say everything was according to qada and qadar, I meant qada, which is decisive, qadar, which is decisive, inevitable. لو كان كذلك لبطل الثواب والعقاب والوعد والوعيد والأمر والنهي. If it was fixed, already decided, then reward and punishment, promise and threat, command and prohibition, all would be absurd, void. وَلَمْ تَأْتِ لَائِمَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِمُذْنِبٍ. No blame was then coming from Allah for the sinful people. وَلَا مَحْمَدَةٌ لِمُحْسِنٍ. And for good doers also no praise was coming. لَمْ يَكُنِ الْمُحْسِنُ أَوْلَى بِالْمَدْحِ مِنَ الْمُسِيءِ. The one who was doing good would not deserve more praise because he has no role from someone who does bad. وَلَا الْمُسِيءُ أَوْلَى بِالذَّمِّ مِنَ الْمُحْسِنِ. And the one who does bad is not deserving more blame than the one who does good. تلك مقالة عبدة الأوثان وجنود الشيطان وشهود الزور وأهل العمى عن الصواب. This is the idea, the opinion of worshippers of idols and armies of Satan. وشهود الزور اجتنبوا قول الزور. Zur means batil. Shuhud al-zur means witnesses or those who offer testimony of zur means false. وَأَهْلِ الْعَمَى عَنِ الصَّوَابِ. Those who are blind, they cannot see what is right. وَهُمْ قَدَرِيَّةُ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ وَمَجُوسُهَا. These people who deny our role and say everything is decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Imam said they are misguided, they are armies of shaitan. Imam says these are qadariya to hadil ummah. Qadariya has different meaning, but here means jabriya, those who believe in jabr, those who say everything is predestined. And they are majus hadhihi al-ummah. Majus in our Kalami books, based on what knowledge they had of Majus of that time and what Majus of that time were presenting from themselves. Because nowadays, maybe there are some Majus who would not accept this, even about dualism. Some say, no, we are, monotheist. And we appreciate, people can always introduce themselves and their ideas, and that's the best way to understand them. But what is associated with them in our early texts is that they had this idea of everything is decided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or everything good is decided by Him and everything bad is decided by Ahriman. So there is this element of similarity between them and Qadariya among Muslims. Inna Allah ta'ala amara takhiran. Then Amir al-Mu'minin said, Allah commands, and even if that command is obligatory, it doesn't mean that you don't have free will. For example, Allah says, Salat is wajib, but does it mean that you don't have free will? Free will is a philosophical thing. Even if I say it's obligatory, still you have free will. You may do it, you may not do it. Of course, you have to be answerable, but you have control. Inna Allah ta'ala amara takhiran wa naha tahdhiran. He commanded in order to create a scenario for us to exercise our free will, and also prohibited in order to warn us. Wa kallafa yasiran, and what He has commanded is small. He didn't command us to do things which are impossible or almost impossible, things that will make our life miserable. Lam yu'sa maghluban. When Allah is disobeyed, He is not defeated. It's not that the sinners defeat Him. Walam yuta' mukra. And He is not obeyed while people are forced and ibadah is imposed by Allah on people. Walam yursila ar-rusula abathan. He didn't send messengers in vain. Walam yakhluq as-samawati wal arda wa ma baynahuma batila. He didn't create the skies and the earth and what is between them in a false way. ذلك ظن الذين كفروا فويل للذين كفروا من النار. This is the opinion, the idea of those who don't have faith. Okay, so what this shows in hadith of Amir al-Mu'minin is that he's very clearly saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left a space for our free will. At the same time that we are not totally delegated authority. Authority is not delegated to us in the sense that He has nothing to do with. He is not maghlub, but we have also control. فقال الشيخ, this old man, when he heard this, okay, this is very good, we don't have any issue with this, but then he said, then what is then qada qadar? ما القضاء والقدر اللذان ما صرنا إلا بهما. So what is that qada and what is that qadar by which we came all this way? Then Imam alayhi salam said, qada and qadar is command of Allah. هو الأمر من الله تعالى والحكم, the command of Allah, the taklif of Allah, the ruling of Allah, And then Imam read this ayah, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, which means أَمَرَ رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. So Allah has commanded us and we came according to His command. فَنَهَضَ الشَّيْخُ مَسْرُورًا. This old man became happy and he said this poem. أنت الإمام الذي نرجو بطاعته يوم النشور من الرحمن الرضوان. You are the Imam that we hope by obeying him on the day of resurrection. And nushur means to bring all together. On that day we expect hope from Allah, pleasure. أوضحت من ديننا ما كان ملتبسا. You have clarified for us from our religion what was ambiguous. جزاك ربك عنا فيه إحسانا. May Allah reward you on our behalf with respect to this religion. Okay, this is the hadith of Amir المؤمنين عليه السلام. Abu al-Hasan al-Basri and Mahmud al-Kharazmi, although they are not Shia, but they were aware of this saying of Amir al-Mu'minin because they all had respect for knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin. They say وجه تشبيه المجبرة بالمجوس. The reason that Imam Ali likened مجبرة قدرية هذه الأمة, those who believe in predestination, he likened them and compared them to Majus is one of these things. One is that in المجوس اختصوا بمقالات سخيفة واعتقادات واهية معلومة البطلان وكذلك المجبرة. One similarity is not to go that much into detail, but Majus have some wrong ideas and these people have wrong ideas and both of them are clearly wrong. So it's one similarity, that having wrong ideas but not exactly the same thing. This is one option. Number two, أن مذهب المجوس أن الله تعالى يخلق فعله ثم يتبرأ منه كما خلق إبليس ثم انتفى عنه or انتفى منه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the opinion of Majus, creates things and then he distances himself from it, like he created Iblis, but then Allah distanced himself from Shaitan. Shaitan has nothing to do with him, although it's creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وكذلك المجبرة قالوا إنه تعالى يفعل القضاء ثم يتبرأ منها. Mujabbara say Allah does bad things but he doesn't accept the responsibility, he distances himself. So this is one similarity. Another similarity is that أن المجوس قالوا إن النكاح الأخوات والأمهات بقضاء الله وقدره وإرادته. They say if someone marries his own sisters or mother, this is according to qada and qadar. Means that person didn't have any role and he was forced to do this. And Mujabbara also say the same, and they said نكاح المجوس لأخواتهم وأمهاتهم بقضاء الله وقدره وإرادته. So they deny role of people. This is the third similarity. And number four, إن المجوس قالوا إن القادر على الخير لا يقدر على الشر. Majus have said that the one who does good things and the one who does bad things are different. We have Ahura and we have Ahriman. Ahura does good things, Ahriman does bad things. Mujabbara also they say إن القدرة موجبة للفعل غير متقدمة عليه. They say Qudra makes action necessary and is not coming before the action, because if it was coming before the action becomes necessary. فالإنسان القادر على الخير, the person who can do good cannot do the bad, because if he had Qudra then he would have done it. So for them Qudra belongs to one side. If you have Qudra for khair, you do it. If you have Qudra for shar, you do it. You cannot have Qudra for khair and shar. Opposite to mutakallimin that always say Qudra should belong to both sides. In any case, this was a side point that although Majus are not Mujabbara in the sense that Mujabbara among Muslims are, but there are some similarities between them and Mujabbara. What I would like to add here is that for sure this is not a comprehensive discussion about Qada and Qadar. here the discussion is on the side of our debate with the Ash'arites about human role in actions. And only in order to clarify this, Allama a little bit expanded. Otherwise, this is not a place that Allama brings all the discussion about qada and qadar. But as a reminder for you and something to refresh your memory, if you remember, we said that qada and qadar sometimes are ilmi, sometimes they are ayni. For example, in Amuzash Aqaid theological instructions, we said this. Qada and qadar sometimes are ilmi, sometimes are ayni. Sometimes they are scientific, sometimes they are objective, existential. It seems that Allama, based on the hadith of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, has mostly shifted the direction towards ilmi, qada and qadar, in the sense of knowing in advance and declaring in advance what people are going to do freely and voluntarily. But qada and qadar can also be ayni, in the sense that Allah makes a decision and something happens definitely. It is here that we have to discuss how He makes qada and makes things necessary. They necessarily happen, but still we have role. And here the main point that our scholars mention is that qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is necessity of coming to existence, happens after illat tammah is complete. At least Allama Hilli and some other scholars mention this. Illat tammah needs muqtadi, shurut, fiqdanul mawani. Conditions must be there, obstacles must not be there, everything must be there, the cause must be there. When everything is there, then we have illat tammah. And ma'lul definitely must come after illa is complete. So some ulama like Allama Tabatabai say the necessity of ma'lul coming after illa is complete, and philosophers say yajibu takhalluful ma'lul an illatihi tammah, this is the decisive element in qada. So in other words, when everything is put together and part of it is your role, other people's roles, natural factors, everything is put together and illa becomes complete, certainly the effect comes. That necessity is decisive nature of qada. And qadar is measures and plans. Like you have different tracks. If the train goes on this track, definitely it would go to that direction. If train goes to this on this track, goes to that direction. Every track that you take finally would lead to something necessary. Therefore, qada is decisive. Qadar also would lead decisively to a conclusion. But which qadar to happen, which things become finalized, it's partly due to your free will, because you are part of illat tammah. This is why, for example, when Amir al-Mu'minin was sitting under that wall which was going to collapse, and then he left, someone asked Imam alayhi salam, why you do this? Are you running away from qada and qadar? He thought that qada and qadar means that if this wall is going to collapse, whether you move or not, it's going to collapse, and you are going to be killed, you will be killed. If you are not going to be killed, you will not be killed, even if you sit under this wall and this wall collapses. But Amir only said, I run away from qada to qadar or something like that, which means that if I stay here and the wall collapses, I die. If I go somewhere else and the wall collapses, I'm not going to die. If I am here and die, this is qada. If I am there and die, that is also qada. One plan leads to that, another plan leads to that. So this is the idea about qada and qadar ayni, or existential. Of course, in the discussion that we had in Hose on theological instructions, and later in other places when we talked about qada and qadar, I explained that although our role, free will, is very important, but there are things that Allah has planned normally for humanity, but sometimes even for individuals, that He wants them to happen. Like وَنُرِيدُ أَن نَمُنَّ عَلَى الَّذِينَ اسْتُضْعِفُوا. This is His final qada, and this is going to happen. But even here, still we are free. Even here, although He has a plan, and that plan is finalized, is fixed, it must happen. Even if one day is left, that is going to happen. But we are still free. This generation, another generation, in this year or after 1,000 years or 10,000 years, He is waiting. He doesn't impose. And even if it is something to happen in this generation, like the story of Pharaoh, still He didn't take away the free will of Pharaoh and its people. He remained free. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He definitely wants something to happen and enemies still want to stop, He doesn't take away their free will, but He knows how to plan things in the way that they freely defeat themselves. And this is the meaning of makaru wa makar Allah wallahu khayrul makirin. They make a plan, Allah makes another plan, but His plan takes their plan into its service. And the more they work, harder they work, they help plan of Allah materialize more. So Allah in many cases may not have anything fixed for us, and even if He has plans which are fixed and decisive, still His free will, human free will, is not taken away. He leaves us with free will, and He is never compromising about our free will. This is a discussion about qada and qadar, as much as it's mentioned here with little expansion. Also, again, I repeat that what is mentioned here about Majus is not that they are Jabriya, but Jabriya and Majus have some similarities. 4 points are mentioned by Hassan al-Basri and others. But if Majus or Zoroastrians today, they say they have another belief, we respect that. And we are talking about that particular group that were known as Majus at that time. If they believe the same, then we are not happy with denial of the Tawheed. But if they believe in Tawheed, we very much appreciate and thank. Okay, we finish here. If there are questions, please put forward. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Are there any questions?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm looking at the messages right now.
Yes. Okay, one question is, can we say events unfold themselves? In what sense? In the sense that we have no role, or in the sense that we have a role, but there is a cause and effect system, that sometimes you start something and still you have control. Sometimes you start something and it goes out of control. For example, if someone shoots an arrow, then events will unfold in the sense that this person may not be able to stop it. But sometimes I may be able to stop it. For example, I start a project, then I stop it. What is important is that there is cause and effect chain, and this chain of cause and effect makes actions sometimes continue, may make them stop, and if we know how these things work, we can better decide how to be more efficient.